Okay, so I wanted to do a Cam Newton video. I kind of uploaded one, but then I took it down because I wanted to redo it again. Because sometimes with these videos, like I said, I do them genuine. They're genuine videos. I don't edit anything or I want to start editing stuff. I'm getting a desktop computer later this month, so I want to start editing videos and having better quality videos and stuff like that. But for right now, this is just genuine reactions, and a lot of times when I'm trying to get my thoughts together, I will stumble or I will stutter or I will say one thing and then change what I'm saying. Because I'm trying to. My brain is trying to keep pace with what I'm saying, but my brain is moving faster than my mouth is. So, all right. But I wanted to do this video first. I may do the Cam Newton video later, but it's called "Way Too Early NFL Overreactions." It's a Bleacher Report article. This guy Maurice Moulton, I guess that's how you say his name, wrote it. All right. I don't want to read the whole. I don't want to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read snippets here and there of each, I guess, overreaction. But the first overreaction is Atlanta Falcons aren't a playoff caliber team. Now, I already let my feelings be known. That's what I do when I give my NFL takes. I let my feelings be known. During the off season, during training camp, during preseason, now the NFL season about certain teams, and most of the time I'm right. But Atlanta is one of those teams that I'm right about. That I've been right about because they just who they are is just who they've shown us to be. You know, and there's a lot of inconsistency in the league, and especially in that division, the NFC South. I mean, you never know what team is going to. I mean, one year to be Atlanta, the next year to be Carolina, next year to be Saints. I mean, you never know. So, I don't know, man. I don't know if the Atlanta Falcons are a playoff team. Is a playoff team this year. I guess it depends on. Once you have your division winners, and I'm pretty sure we all know who the division winners are going to be. Most likely, it's going to be the Cowboys. It's going to be the Saints. It's going to be the. I'm gonna go Green Bay Packers, man. I've fallen off with the Chicago Bears. I don't really look at Trubisky as that guy anymore. After that unbelievably bad performance he put on, against Green Bay, and in the kickoff game. So I don't know. I'm kind of off of the Trubisky bandwagon for right now, and so I think the Green Bay Packers may actually win this division. Let's see how they play on Sunday. I may change that, but right now Packers are going to be my, because you just like when you give Aaron Rodgers an opportunity, most of the time he's going to kill you with it. So I'm gonna stick with Green Bay for right now, and the Rams most likely are gonna win their division. So those are the division winners most likely, and then what matters is who's gonna be the other two teams that take those last two spots. It could be the Eagles, it could be Seattle, it could be Minnesota, it could be Chicago, it could be Atlanta, Carolina. Oh no, I'm off the Carolina thing, and I'll explain why later. But it could be Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay looked good, man. I mean, I'm not saying Jameis Winston looked good, but Tampa Bay looked good as a team. All right. The only thing that's been holding them back is Jameis Winston. Okay, okay. Jameis has been utterly disappointing since he was drafted, man. They were talking about Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston is going to be fighting for the rising star spot. Who's going to be the best rising, young star and all this stuff. Mariota has vastly outplayed Jameis Winston, and it's not even close. But yeah, I don't think it's an overreaction to say they aren't a playoff team. I think it's a little bit too soon. We have to give it maybe a couple more weeks, maybe by like week 5, week 6. We got to see how Atlanta is. We got to see how they play. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're good enough late in the season to go on a run that's going to put them in a position to get a playoff spot. I think in order for Atlanta to get a playoff spot, they're going to have to win early, and they're going to have to win often. You know, because a lot of times those hot weather teams like Miami and I'm trying to think of those California teams. They don't play so well in like December. You know, they don't play so well in like late November when the weather starts to get colder. They don't play so well. And Atlanta, for some reason, I don't know what it is. When you're a dome team, you don't play well. You don't play well outside of the dome. Like when you're playing on actual grass instead of like turf or some shit like that, you don't play so well. So I don't know, man. We gotta see, man. We gotta see. I'm gonna give it maybe week 4, week 5, and then I'm already have my assumptions on what I think Atlanta's gonna do for the rest of the season. But I wouldn't say it's an overreaction. They have shown us that, like last year, they were supposed to be the next team up after they lost the Super Bowl. They were supposed to be the next team up, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They did make the playoffs last year. Did they make the playoffs last year? I can't even. No, I don't think they did. They didn't make the playoffs last year. Maybe that was the 2 years before that. I don't. You see what I'm saying? Like you never know, man. And I think Matt Ryan is. I think Matt Ryan is a good quarterback, man. I wouldn't say this dude is one of the best, but I would say that he's a good quarterback. And Julio Jones, man. I don't know, man. This team has all the pieces to win. They have the defense. They have the names on defense. They have, a good offensive line. They have the pieces. I don't know what is wrong with Atlanta, man. I don't know what's wrong with them. I mean, it's not the same thing with Carolina, where Carolina, they'll have the running back, they'll have the quarterback, they'll have the defense, but they don't have any fucking wide receivers, man. Like when Cam went 15-1 and he won the MVP, I think his biggest target at the wide receiver position that he was throwing to was a dude named Philly Brown. After that season, Philly Brown has not had I'm not going to say not had a job. He has not been, I guess, a crucial part of an offense since then. But, All right, so again, like you can hear it now. I'm stuttering a little bit because I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. Sometimes it's frustrating, but sometimes it helps me further my points. But let's see. I don't want to read none of the article, man. I think this is a great app, and I think people should go check it out. And I don't want to read none of the articles. And plus, I want to get through the video quicker. All right, Lamar Jackson's surge in MVP odds. Now, I think this is a massive overreaction. A massive overreaction. All right. First off, Lamar Jackson passed for 5 touchdowns. That is true. But he did it against a Miami Dolphins defense. I was about to say Dolphins and offense at the same time. A Miami Dolphins defense. Who reports came out that these motherfuckers wanted to be traded. When you look, and I believe it, and this is why I believe that they really do, because now people are coming out saying, well, they didn't say they wanted to be traded. That was just a story. No, I do believe that these players want to leave because Lamar Jackson across the league is looked at as a great mobile quarterback, but this dude cannot carry his team to victories with his arm. And not only did he carry his team to a victory on Sunday, he torched that defense. And he did not run the ball very much. And he did not run the ball very far. He killed them through the air. He made that defense look so damn bad. And I do think players are like, no, fuck this. We are not dealing. If Lamar Jackson is doing this to us, we will be historically one of the worst, the worst defense in NFL history. Because Lamar Jackson leads you with for 5 touchdowns. Bro. You give up 59 points in the opening game. Yeah. I can see why they want to leave, man. It's not good. But I do think they should stay and fight, man. It's weak as shit for you to want to leave. I mean, especially after 1 week. I mean, 1 week you can give up 50 points. The next week you can score 50 points and you can beat the other team by 30 or 40. I mean, you never know. I mean, so quitting early is kind of a weak move on the part of some of these players. Excuse the noise. Sorry. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Cleveland Browns are overrated. I'm not gonna say this is an overreaction. Look, the Cleveland Browns haven't made the playoffs in 13, 14 years, and the moment they get Odell Beckham and they have Baker there for 1 year and Myles Garrett, although he's supposed to be one of the best pass rushers. I mean, I haven't seen enough out of him yet to call him one of the best. I'm gonna say he's one of the most promising, but he's not one of the best. And I mean, Denzel Ward is probably my favorite player on that defense. Look, I'm a defensive guy. I grew up a defensive guy. Like when the Ravens were, Ray Lewis was at the top of his game. Ed Reed was at the top of his game. I grew up a defensive guy, and I love defense. I love good defensive players. I love smart defensive players. I love defensive games. If I could watch a game that ends 20-17 or 17-10 or 17-14 or even lower than that sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong. All right. If two teams going into the fourth quarter only have 3 points, that game could either be extremely interesting or unbelievably boring. I mean, it is possible. And like I said, the Super Bowl to me was interesting. I enjoyed watching it. I was not bored with it. All right. Versus the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears game, which was boring. I mean, it was just two bad offenses. It wasn't even two great defenses. And that's another overreaction. I hope they have it on here. The Green Bay Packers defense is not great by any stretch. I mean, Jair Alexander and Blake Martinez, you have some good pieces on that defense, but they are not great, not by far. I'm sorry. They just took advantage of a really questionable Mitchell Trubisky game. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, I like defense. And, I don't know, man. But you know what? Let me before I ask, because sometimes I could just go into like 4 or 5 different topics. All right, so the Cleveland Browns are overrated because they get a few players. I was talking about Denzel Ward. All right, they get a few players. We start to get almost excited for what we are about to see. I mean, they got Jarvis Landry last year. Jarvis Landry was a good player last year. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they also got David Njoku, who I believe up to this point has been a letdown. I mean, Njoku, when he was drafted, was supposed to be a great piece, a great addition. I mean, they talked about his athleticism and all this other stuff, but we haven't really seen much come from his play. So, I don't know. He's been a letdown, but you also have Njoku, and then you bring in Odell Beckham, and then you have Nick Chubb. You had Duke Johnson, and then you signed Kareem Hunt. All right, then you signed Kareem Hunt, so you have all these weapons all over the field, and Baker, who everybody believes is going to be the cream of the crop for some reason. This year. I'm not talking about in the future. I'm talking about this year. They think he's going to be the cream of the crop. I'm talking top 5, top 10 type shit. And already, man, Super Bowl. We're talking Super Bowl now. Now people are starting to assume Super Bowl. And I can tell you why that is. Why we instantly jump on a bandwagon and we ride with teams, even though these teams have done nothing but show us letdown. That's it. They haven't shown us anything else but letdown. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we are looking for, and I'm saying we, because I'm in the mindset of the people. So we are looking for the next team that's going to dethrone the Patriots Again, I don't want to make this into a Patriot thing, but I'm telling you, that's what it is. This is why we'll jump on Atlanta, we'll jump on Carolina, we'll jump on Denver, we'll jump on Seattle, we'll jump on Philly, we'll jump on what's the team last year? The Rams. We'll jump on Kansas City because we're looking for teams that's going to take them out. And every year when you watch Speak for Yourself, Undisputed, First Take, whenever a team starts to play like Kansas City did and starts to play like the Rams did, the first question we ask is, can they dethrone the Patriots? And this is why we're jumping on the Cleveland bandwagon, because our first question in our minds are they good enough to beat New England in the playoffs? And this is why. So yes, I do think they're overrated. I think they need to play a full year with the people they have, their core. They need to play a full season with this core. Now that they got Beckham and you got all these other players, they need to play a full year with these guys. All right, before we can even, maybe they'll turn it around and they'll become threats in AFC. We don't know. It's only the first game of the season, but so far this is not a great start. And I said last week when I made my pick, and I picked Tennessee to beat Cleveland, and it wasn't because I thought Cleveland was just these bums who were just propelled to this position. I thought Tennessee is one of those teams that they can either show you how great they are or how extremely average they are. And they showed you they can be great when they want to. Alright? So, let's move on to the next one. We have the San Francisco 49ers have a strong defense. 49ers have names. Right now they have the names. They have Arik Armstead. They have Reuben Foster. They have, I'm trying to remember all the names. They have what's the other guy? God damn it, I can't think of. All right, but I'm gonna just say the ones I know. They have Richard Sherman. They have, a safety out there. Jesus Christ, I have to have the roster in front of me, but they have names. All right, that don't mean just because you have name power doesn't mean you have. That would have been corny to say. Just because you have name power doesn't mean you have actual talent, cohesive talent on your team, man. Like, I don't know. We got to see how the offense looks, because this is an offensive-driven league, and the only time that defense really plays a factor is like in the playoffs. But we have to see how they play this season. I have to see how the offense is. To be honest, I think they have an extremely average offense. They have 3 running backs that all do the same fucking thing. I believe are all they're all outside runners, and they're all receivers out of the backfield, to be honest. So that's a problem. And I don't know. I'm not going to say Marquise Goodwin is not a good wide receiver. I'm just going to say that their wide receiver core needs to prove something this year. All right? And Jimmy Garoppolo needs to prove something this year. This whole team needs to prove something. I mean, we can propel the 49ers if we want to. But if they can't live up to the expectations, they're overrated. I mean, it's what it is, man. It's what it is. All right, so let's move on to the next one. It's man overboard in Miami. Yes, I don't think this is an overreaction. I think these players really want to get the fuck out of here, because the worst thing as a football player that you can be a part of is being the worst group ever. Like, I think this is real, man. They really do want to leave, man. Look at this, 59-10. You got torched by a quarterback that can't throw, apparently, and y'all made him look like a goddamn god this week. And to be honest, I'm gonna say this now, even though players of the week, there's only 2 players that's left for that position. It's Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson, and it's totally based off the numbers. All right, I could come up with my own player of the week, but most likely his numbers won't match up to theirs. But if I had to give it to one of those guys, I would give it to Lamar Jackson, because I don't know, man. The weapons that Dak have, Lamar doesn't have, and the type of quarterback that Dak is, Lamar isn't. So I can see Dak going for those numbers. I could not anticipate Lamar Jackson playing the way he did. It was it was surprising. And this is why they want to leave, man. I really do believe that they want to get out of there. Especially Minka Fitzpatrick. I call him Micah. Minka Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick wants to leave, man. I believe it. Unless he comes out himself and he says, I don't. Even then, it may be a lie, but I will believe it more than reports saying that they don't want to leave. I do think they want to leave, man. This is just a bad look. And to be honest, if any team is going to go winless this year, it's the Miami Dolphins. They are just laughable this year. But let's move on to the next one. Pittsburgh Steelers will miss Antonio Brown. This is another one I said. This is another one that I stated that people jumped on the bandwagon too quick. All right. Juju Smith-Schuster is a good wide receiver, all right? He has the potential to be a great wide receiver. He is not a great wide receiver right now, all right? And there's a difference between being a number one where all the attention is on you and you love the attention, all right? And there's a difference between that and being a number two where you're behind a great number one and all the attention is on him and not a lot of it is on you. This is why when you watch Juju Smith-Schuster highlights, you will see him torching backups or secondary, Jesus Christ, second cornerbacks, like the second guy. You know how every team has the first great guy and then the either the really good or the decent second guy. Well, he's usually torching the decent second guy. All right, that's different than playing the guy like there's a difference between playing Richard Sherman on the other side of you versus whoever else is the opposite end cornerback of Richard Sherman. There's a difference. All right, and Juju now is going to be the focal point of that offense. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. That means he's going to be the focal point for the defense. All right. Can he handle that? All right. Can he handle that? It's important to figure out if he can handle that. And right now, I don't think he can. And I've been saying this for a very long time. And I think Juju Smith-Schuster is a nice kid. I think that some of the things that Antonio Brown said about him, although I understand why he said them, I still think they were kind of out of line. Because, I mean, you don't want to turn something personal versus one person and then make it personal for everybody else that's connected. You don't want to do that. All right. And I thought that he kind of went overboard with it when he started talking about the kid. All right, and to be honest, I don't think Antonio Brown really doesn't like the kid. I think he likes the kid. I mean, how can you not like Juju Smith-Schuster? He seems like he's a dude that's in the cartoons and shit like that, and he used to ride his bike to games and shit like that. Like, I mean, he seems like at heart like a good kid, and until reports come out otherwise, I'm gonna believe so. So you want good things to happen for him. You want him to play his best. But I just don't think that he's ready for it yet, man, because you're playing on a very high-profile team, and that means that teams that are not as high-profile as you will be coming for you. And they will make it their mission to shut you down. And he has to be ready for that. And I don't know if he is. So we're going to move on to the next. Oh, but that's it. I was going to say we was going to move on to the next one, but that's it, apparently. Those are my reactions to the overreactions. And I agree with some, I disagree with some, and we'll see how the season plays out, man. Because I think this is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a good NFL season. I think it's going to be a very interesting season to play out. Because now people are talking about New England is going to go 16-0, and I do not believe that. They're going to lose to somebody. New England, besides the year, no, you know what? Even that year when they went 16-0 in the regular season, they lost eventually in the playoffs. They're going to lose to somebody. I just want it to happen in the regular season. Get it out the way. So I'm done, man.